Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Happy Thursday to you. Taking attendance here. We're up to 20 participants, so we'll get moving here pretty quickly. Hope everybody's doing well. A little chillier outside. Starting to feel a little fall weather here. It's pretty nice. Finally got some stuff on TV to watch. You got NBA playoffs, football, except for Wednesday nights. That's boring. Okay. Here's what we got. Let's get going so we don't take up the entire time on Zoom. I've heard we need to cut down. At least that's what I was told today. Okay, so obviously I'm sharing my screen with you, and I'm going to go to my modules page. And the first thing I want you guys to do today, one of the bigger concepts in Chinese history was this thing known as the dynastic cycle. So if you guys go to 917 warm-up under week number 8 modules, click on it. You're going to see a very short cartoon. Okay, analyze the picture on the cartoon and explain the dynastic cycle in Chinese history. You're going to do that in the reply response. Okay, do that right now, please.
What do you mean by explain the dynastic cycle?
Well, if you read the short cartoon, I think you'll understand what it is. Just tell me what it is. All right, as people are thinking here and responding, can I get one person to raise their hand who would like to share what the dynastic cycle was? Okay, Zariah, tell us what the dynastic cycle was.
Was it to get the aging dynasty to kick the new dynasty out of the picture?
Yeah, the exact opposite though. For the new dynasty to get the aging dynasty out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Anybody else want to share an answer? Just looking through here, one dynasty brings good things and power, then the dynasty tells China they've done wrong, then the other dynasty takes over. Okay, so you pretty much get the point. It's a cycle. And so it's a cycle where the dynasty that's ruling does well at first, and then eventually they become corrupt or ignore the peasants, and then what happens is you end up with a rebellion, and then a new dynasty takes over. Now, why am I even going over this where it seems like common sense? The pattern of Chinese history is it's been this exact way to this day in 2020. Okay. And I know they don't have a dynasty and an emperor today, but Mao Zedong and the two rulers that have ruled after him have ruled exactly like an emperor would rule China. And so the dynastic cycle, if you want to use it metaphorically, still exists today and is applicable to Chinese history. So for 3,500 years, you can literally tell the history of China through this cycle, which is a long time, considering the United States has only been around for 250 years. Okay, we are going to move on. Again, make sure you have a response in there. We've got 13 out of 25. And we're going to move on to go back to modules. Okay. When you go back to modules, you're going to go down to week number 8, and you're going to click on 917 Mankind China video questions. Okay, open them up. And you're going to see this document. You want to open up that document. All right. Once you open up that document, it should look like this. All right. So plug your name in the upper right. Or you can convert it to a Google Doc. It's up to you. And then we're going to look at two kind of key concepts that we talked about just briefly on Tuesday. And those key concepts are the reunification of China and the expansion of China to make it such a huge influence on East Asia, and to continue the legacy of why it's so important today. And then the second thing we're going to look at is the Silk Trade Route, that being the way that the East and West were connected. All right, so what I'm going to do, make sure you guys, I'm going to give you another maybe 60 seconds to get these questions out. And then after this segment of the video is over, we'll kind of talk about the questions. And then make sure you take a look at them a little bit ahead of time here before we go over them, so you know what you're looking for. They go in order. And then we'll take a break, there's about a 5-minute clip on the Silk Trade Route, and then you guys will be done for the day. And tomorrow we're going to be drafting our current event dates and talking a little bit more about that tomorrow. So in case people have been asking me questions, we'll take care of that tomorrow. All right. So this first segment, again, talks about the Qin Shi Huangdi and the first emperor of China. So hopefully you have your questions out. I'm going to try to figure out how to, when I'm recording this, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at these first 5 questions. Let me go back to sharing real quick. If you have the answer, go ahead, raise your hand on the hand raise function. How did the Chinese prepare their iron differently than their Western counterparts? Ian, what do you think?
They mass produce their weapons by using sand molds. So they would like pour the iron into the mold, and then they'd be able to produce thousands of iron weapons.
Yeah. That's kind of the movement towards interchangeable parts. Good. All right. And that's important for war, obviously, right? And making tools. I mean, probably the 2 most important things you need to be able to do at that time. All right. According to the documentary, War Drives Technological Innovation. Is this true or false? What do you think? Think about the history of the world, the rest of the history of the world. Do you think it is war that drives technological innovation? Luke, you had your hand up. What do you think?
I think it's true. And the example would be the crossbow.
Okay, crossbow. Ethan, do you have a different example?
No, I have the same example.
No one thought of the atomic bomb in World War II? That would be a pretty good example. Or tanks and planes in World War I? Yeah. How did standardized interchangeable parts give an advantage to the Chinese? Ethan, what do you think?
It allowed for them to mass produce them and easily repair them if they got damaged in battle.
Yeah. Instead of having to make an entire new piece of equipment, they can just fix it. That interchangeable parts didn't come to Western cultures, the one that we live in, until the mid 1800s. That's what they were showing with the Civil War. So the Chinese invented that idea much, much sooner. Okay, 4, Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor, unified China under one leader. What does this symbolize for China? Nathaniel.
The birth of China?
Yeah, unification of China, which has had quite an impact on the world, hasn't it? Yeah. Okay. We already kind of talked about this, but what caused Qin Shi Huangdi's death? Diamond.
Wasn't it I forgot what they called it, but he was drinking something to keep him immortal, and it was like messing with his system and his brain. And
Yeah,
just like
mercury.
Yeah.
A chemical that's released into our Great Lakes, and that's why you can't eat too many fish or salmon or like whitefish or walleye out of our Great Lakes, because there's so much mercury in there. It poisons you, and that's why especially pregnant women aren't allowed to eat fish. That's one of the reasons why. Okay, good. All right, we've got one other short clip. It's about 5 minutes. Good participation there. Thank you, folks. I'm going to go ahead and try to find my piece of paper where I have all the magic code written. Oh, yeah. All right, so This is about the Silk Trade Route, and this is the first time that China and the western part of the Eastern civilization or the Mediterranean will be connected. So only 2 questions, but pretty interesting to view. And like I said, only about 5 minutes. Here we go.
Under Roman rule. But unknown to the Romans, on the other side of the world, there is another empire, just as big and powerful.
Okay.
Mr. B,
Yes.
when are the current event projects due?
Not until the day before you present. So the day, it could be October 15th, the earliest. Could be as late as December 10th.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here, and you guys upload those. And unless you have a question, feel free to leave and get other work done, please.
See you, Mr. B.
All right. See you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Could you go over the first question again? My screen froze and I wasn't able to hear anyone talking about it.
First question. Yeah. How did China put iron differently? They poured it in the molds, like the iron in the molds, instead of like banging on the iron to make a weapon. They poured it into molds, which allowed them to make a lot more weapons.
Thank you.
Yep. You are welcome. Okay, does anybody else have any questions?